Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate all the support and the encouragement. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for checking out my videos, and for my old subscribers, thank you so much for sticking with me, and I hope that you continue to enjoy my videos. So today we're going to be working on a patio bench. I decided to work on my patio during the summer, although it's almost end of summer, but just so I could have a nice place outdoors to, sit, read a book, listen to some music, just relax and enjoy myself. It's pandemic season and I have to find creative ways to be able to not go crazy. So I hope you're all finding ways to also refresh yourselves and be creative and just relax in general. We're going to be working on the patio bench and some cushions and pillows. In this video, I'm only working on the bench, but there'll be other videos that cover the privacy screen and the other items I made for the balcony decoration. The idea for this bench came from some Pinterest pictures I found when I was looking for easy DIY benches. I also found a video online from an amazing YouTuber, Your Essentials. She's so good with crafts and DIYs. You should totally check her out. I'll also link her video for the patio bench in the description box below. The bench is made with cinder blocks and lumber. So this is the arrangement that I used for the cinder blocks. So I arranged both the left and the right side in the exact same way, and then I sprayed it 2 times with black spray paint. This is how it looks after the first coat, and this is how it looks after the second coat. So I only made 2 coats, which I thought was fine. It looked good. For the lumber, I used 4 by 4 by 8 feet. I got 3 pieces and it was cut into halves for me, making 6 pieces. What I did was paint it with waterproof paint in white, and when I was done, I arranged the cinder blocks about 4 feet from each other, starting from the middle point of each arrangement, and then I slid the lumber through the holes on either side. I also made a small table using 2 cinder blocks and some old shiplap wood, which I cut into about 12 inches each, and then nailed them together using tack nails. All I did was nail the 4 pieces together and then place it on top the stack blocks, and it looks pretty good and it works for a table, so it was perfect. Next, I cut the foam for the cushions to size, and the foam I got is about 3 inches thick. So I cut, based on my bench measurement, I cut about, the width of the foam was 24 inches. So I just cut 3 feet in length by the 24 inches, which you can see me cutting in the video. For the 2 small back cushions, I cut 13 inches by 16.5 inches. Next, I cut out the fabric which I was going to use to wrap the cushions. I used waterproof fabric because I knew it was going to be outdoors and rain gets into the balcony, so I used waterproof canvas material. And the measurements I cut for the large cushion, which is on the bottom, is 39 inches by 53 inches. And for the smaller ones, 19.5 inches by 3 inches. So pretty much the formula sounds really intimidating, but it's just the method I use to calculate the exact amount of fabric I need to cut for each piece. The length of the fabric is pretty much the length of your foam plus the depth of your foam. So mine, the length is 3 feet, which is 36 inches, plus the depth of the foam, which is 3 inches. So that made 39 inches. Now for the breadth or the width of the foam, the width of my foam was 24 inches plus half of the depth, which is 3 inches, which is 1.5. plus an inch for the seams, and then multiplied that by 2. So I ended up with 24 inches plus 1.5 plus 1 inch, which is 26.5 multiplied by 2, giving me 53 inches. So that's how I got 39 by 53 inches. So using the exact same formula, I multiplied the measurements for the back cushions, and that gave me 19.5 by 31 inches. So it sounds a little bit complex, but if you follow the formula exactly, it should be pretty easy for you to figure out, depending on the depth of your foam and how long you want to make each of the cushions. Next, I moved on to sewing the fabric for the cushion covers, and what I did was to fold it in half along the longer measurement with the right sides facing each other, and then I used my pins to hold it together, and then I marked out 1/2 inch seams on either end, leaving the top open, and then I sewed both sides, which you can see in the video. Next, to shape the corners into a square, what I did was to pull the sewn seam, which I just did, towards the center of the fabric, which is the center line that's on the end of the folded part. Now you could use a marker or chalk or whatever to mark your center line, but because it's canvas fabric I used, the corner was already visible. So all I did was just pull the seam towards the center line, make sure it was perfectly flat, and then I used my ruler as my guide to mark exactly 3 inches, which is the depth of my foam, from one end of the triangle to the other, making sure that my ruler touched the 0 and 1/3 inch, and that the seam or the middle of the triangle was exactly on 1.5, which is half. And then I made my mark and sewed it across. I decided to sew across twice, let's do a double stitch just for added security. After doing that on one side, I did the exact same thing on the other side, pulling the seams together, marking my 3 inches and sewing it across twice. Then I cut off the excess fabric. After that, I turned the fabric right side out and stuffed it with the piece of foam that I had cut out for that particular cushion. And then to seal, all I did was wrap like a gift, which is by tucking both sides down and then folding both flaps. One first, as I took the bottom first, and then folded the top flap over it. To hold it together, I used my sewing pins to make sure the flap stayed secure while I made my stitches. And afterwards, I used a basic loop stitch, as you can see in the video, to seal it together. So it's quite easy. If you just take your time, make sure you pin it tight and snug, and then use the loop stitch to seal it to make sure it's perfectly attached. To begin the stitch, I did make sure that I knotted the thread several times just to make sure it was perfectly snug, and then I continued using the loop stitch till I was done sealing the whole thing. I repeated the exact same steps for the large cushion, which is on the bottom, and for the other back cushion as well. It should be pretty easy. It took me just about an hour to complete all 3 cushions, so yeah. If you have a sewing machine, it should probably take you less time, but my hand sewer really was terrible. I only used it for 1 cushion, and I then had to use my hand for the rest of it because it had issues and I had to return it. But with the sewing machine, you should be perfectly fine. Next, I made the pillows. To make the pillows, you can either use waterproof fabric, or like I did, use regular fabric and spray with fabric guard, which is a spray that makes your fabric waterproof, and it works really well. Just follow the instructions according to the brand you're using, and mine was basically to spray just 1 coat, but because of the nature of the fabric, one of my fabrics had really large holes, so I made sure to spray it twice just to get full coverage. After that, I hung them and let them dry for about an hour. It dries pretty quickly. Next, I turned the fabric right sides facing each other, and then I sewed 3 sides, making sure to leave 1 open. Here, after pinning the fabrics together, I am using my ruler to mark about ½ an inch on either side, just to guide me while I sew the seams. I chose to sew each end twice just because I didn't trust the strength of the stitches using this hand sewing machine, but you can do yours once if you're stitching by hand or you have a good sewing machine with very quality thread. After sewing 3 sides, I cut off the excess fabric in the corners just so when I turned it over I could get a really pointy end. After that, I turned it right side out and then stuffed it with pillow stuffing. I made sure to keep stuffing and adjusting and squishing and pushing until it looked good and it was comfortable. When I had filled it up completely, I folded the edge about ½ an inch inwards on both sides. That's the front and the back, ½ an inch inwards. Pinned it together using my pins to make sure the fabric was in place while I sewed it to seal it up. Now for one of my pillows, I decided to use fabric glue because it gives like a cleaner seam. You can't see the stitch like the other edges, just to, see how it goes. And it worked really well. I liked the look. And for the one I'm doing in the video, what I did was to stitch the edge. Now it's not as perfect as the one with the fabric glue, but it's pretty good as well, as long as you have like a smooth, straight stitch. So you can choose to glue it or stitch it. Either way, you're fine. Just make sure your seams are properly tied so your pillow doesn't get undone after sitting and squishing and stuff. made 3 of those pillows, and then I decided to add one more using a towel I found at the Dollar Tree. So I just folded in half, cut off the seams on the edges, stitched 3 sides up, stuffed it, adjusted to my liking, and then used 1 line of stitching to seal it up. Just a basic pillow. It was still cute. I liked how it looked, so that's why I added it. And these are the pillows all finished. And that's it, guys. This is the bench with the final look with all the cushions and pillows on it. I love how it turned out. I love the way the colors look together. It was a pretty easy project. Didn't take me too long, but it turned out really good. Plus it's really inexpensive, and it made our patio look really nice and cozy for us to use in the fall, which is coming up really soon. Nice weather, not so hot, so it's perfect. Before you guys go, I'd like to leave you with a word from the Word of God in Proverbs 22 verse 29. It says, observe people who are good at their work. Skilled workers are always in demand and admired. They don't take a backseat to anyone. This is just an encouragement for all of us out here who are trying to push and trying to work hard and see results in our businesses and our hustle. Just keep at it. Eventually it will pay off. There is nothing more rewarding than doing something that you love and actually making a living from it. So if you feel a passion or a calling or a pull to do something in particular, doesn't matter what anybody says, doesn't matter if it seems hard or if it's not so popular either, just keep at it. God gives us visions for a reason. Keep pushing, keep working, and eventually it will tell. Your diligence will pay off, and you will be rewarded and acknowledged for your hard work. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out my other videos, subscribe, like, share, leave your loving comments down below, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye.